Hello everyone and welcome to Barca News. It's November 2nd, 2022 and it's reported that Barcelona have met with Jorginho in order to advance his signing. Also, Bayern Munich's Benjamin Pavard has become an option for Barcelona and it's reported that the club are considering Arsenal's coach Mikel Arteta as a future coach for Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin with the news that Barcelona defeated Victoria Pilsen 2-4 in the Czech Republic, and with this match Barcelona have said farewell to the Champions League with a victory. Now Barcelona had a poor performance in yesterday's match and there's really not much to say about yesterday's match given its inconsequential nature, because regardless of the result Barcelona would have still been eliminated from the Champions League and it was still qualified to the Europa League. Now I do want to bring one thing up from yesterday's match, and it's the statistics of the match. And if we look at the numbers, Barcelona had 11 shots with 7 of them on target, where Victoria Pilsen had 22 shots with 8 of them on target. Barcelona had 77% of the ball possession to Victoria Pilsen's 23%. And Barcelona had 752 passes to Victoria Pilsen's 206. Now these statistics are a clear indication of the team's poor performance, specifically in two big areas, which are the team's effectiveness and the team's defense. Now in regards to the team's effectiveness, Victoria Pilsen had only 1/5 of the ball's possession and only 1/5 of all the passes completed in the match. And despite this, they were able to have more shots than Barcelona and they were able to have more shots on target as well. Now taking into consideration that Barcelona had 3 times the ball possession of Victoria Pilsen and they completed 3 times the amount of passes, you would expect that Barcelona would have more shots and more shots on target than their opponent, but that was not the case in yesterday's match. Now in regards to the defense, Barcelona had a crushing possession of the ball, and possession is not only good to create chances and score goals, possession is also a good way of defending yourself, because the more time you have the ball, the less time your opponent has to create chances and score goals. And despite Victoria Pilsen only having 23% of the ball possession, they were still able to have more shots than Barcelona, more shots on target, and they were also able to score 2 goals, which is a clear indication that Barcelona's defense is not doing its job, and it's a very porous defense as well. Now these statistics are even more alarming when you take into consideration the inferiority of the opponent, and I believe if this was a stronger opponent, that this match could have easily ended in a draw or even in a loss for Barcelona. Now, if there is one positive thing to take from yesterday's match, is that with this result, Barcelona were able to collect 2.8 million euros from UEFA for their victory against the Czech team. Now, as expected, there were a lot of rotations in yesterday's team, with Pablo Torre starting his first match for Barcelona, and I must say I was very impressed with this youngster, where he showed a lot of flashes of brilliance. He scored an amazing goal during the second half, and this player looks like he has a very bright future ahead of him. Now, Pablo Torre reminded me a lot of Gabi, with a little bit more conduction of the ball and a little bit more dribbling, and I'm very happy that Barcelona were able to identify this young talent in the lower divisions of the Spanish football and that they were able to sign him this past summer. Now Pablo Torre did show that he still needs to work a little bit more on polishing his skills, but that's very understandable because the young player hasn't had much playing time this season, where he has only played 1 match with Barca Athletic and he has only played I think 2 matches with Barcelona, where he came on the 82nd minute. Now if Barcelona are not considering giving this young player more time, they should seriously consider sending him on loan as soon as possible, and doing so to a first team division, because Pablo Torre needs to be getting as much playing time as possible, because there's a lot of promise in those boots. Now speaking of Pablo Torre, the young player had to unfortunately abandon the field during the second half due to injury, and Xavi has confirmed that this was not a serious injury, that this was only a cramp due to fatigue, so it's not likely that Pablo Torre will miss any playing time. Now another player that also was injured during the match and had to abandon the field was Franck Kessie, and the club have now confirmed that Kessie has suffered an injury to his hamstring muscle, and even though the club have not reported how long Franck Kessie will be out, it's being rumored that he could miss as long as 6 to 8 weeks. Now in the post-match press conference, Xavi gave his own analysis of the match and he expressed his unhappiness with defense when Xavi said, "In the first half we were good, but we suffered a lot. We made unnecessary fouls. They are very intense. They created more chances than usual. They defended well. They played with direct balls. We suffered from corners and in the fouls. We knew they were a difficult opponent. It was a long-suffering game. I liked the team in attack. We went into space, but I didn't like that we conceded a lot in defense. We weren't good. Now Barcelona's next opponent will be Almeria in La Liga on Saturday, followed by a trip to Osasuna on Tuesday, and that will be the last match ahead of the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Now on to the news that Barcelona have reportedly met with Jorginho's entourage today in order to advance the player's signing. Now as we've been talking these past few days, Barcelona are looking to reinforce their squad, and their two main objectives is to sign a player for the right back position and a player to replace Sergio Busquets. Now Xavi has reportedly requested from the club that they prioritize the signing of a right back over a pivot, given that he has lost faith in Hector Bellerin and given that both Sergio Roberto and Bellerin will be leaving the club at the end of the season in the summer of 2023. Now Barcelona are expected to make a big spending on signing a player for the right back position, and as a result they're now prioritizing players who are free agents in order to replace Sergio Busquets. Now one of the players that is expected to become a free agent in the summer of 2023 as his contract will expire with Chelsea is the Italian-Brazilian midfielder Jorginho. Now it's reported that Barcelona met with Jorginho's entourage today in order to advance his signing. Now right after this report came out in the media from a very reputable source, Jorginho's agent came out to deny this meeting, and he said that Jorginho's only priority is to renew his contract with Chelsea. Now there are some people in the media speculating that this meeting did in fact take place and that Jorginho's agent is denying this as a negotiation tactic, but there is no way to know for sure as there is no official confirmation from the club. Now as I just mentioned, Barcelona's main priority will be to sign a player for the right back position, and it's now being reported that Bayern Munich's Benjamin Pavard has become an option for Barcelona. Now Pavard is a World Cup winning player and he's one of the best right backs in the world, and a 26-year-old player has decided not to extend his contract with Bayern Munich, which expires in the summer of 2024. Now as a result of this decision, the player has now been linked with Barcelona, and given the club's urgency to sign a right back as soon as possible, they're not going to be able to wait until the player becomes a free agent in the summer of 2024. So we're going to have to see how much money Bayern Munich will ask for their star right back. Now on to the news that Barcelona are reportedly considering Arsenal's coach Mikel Arteta as a future coach for Barcelona. Now Mikel Arteta was formed as a player in the Barcelona Youth Academy, and he was formed as a coach as Pep Guardiola's assistant, so he's someone that's very familiar with the Barcelona style of play, and as a result he is a good candidate to be a Barcelona coach. Now it's reported that the club are very impressed with how Mikel Arteta is currently managing Arsenal, where the Premier League club had struggled in the recent few years, but thanks to Mikel Arteta's leadership, Arsenal are now competing for the first spot in the Premier League with Manchester City, and they are doing quite well in the Europa League as well. Now Arsenal's football is not the only thing that's impressing Barcelona. They are also very impressed with how Mikel Arteta has managed the locker room, where he did not mind going against Aubameyang last season until he banished him from the club. Now Mikel Arteta also has a very good relationship with both Jordi Cruyff and Matteo Alemany, which will make his future signing that much more easier. Now I say future signing because the club have 100% of their confidence in Xavi, and they want to see him stay at the club for quite some time, and Mikel Arteta also wants to stay put at Arsenal, so the club are considering Mikel Arteta as an option for the future and not as an option for right now. Now on to the news that Barcelona are being linked with the Brazilian left back Caio Henrique. Now Caio Henrique is a 25-year-old Brazilian left back that currently plays for the Ligue 1 club Monaco, and as I mentioned over the summer, Barcelona were reportedly considering signing him for the left back position, but the club ended up signing Marcos Alonso, but because they had already reached an agreement with the player prior to the beginning of the summer transfer market. Now with the news that Barcelona will be looking to offload Jordi Alba next summer, the club are now once again being linked with Caio Henrique as a possible replacement for the Spanish defender. Now we will end today's video with two brief updates. The first one is that Atletico de Madrid are reportedly considering Luis Enrique as a replacement for their coach Cholo Simeone this next summer, and it's also being reported that Luis Enrique is considering taking the job. And even though I always wish the best and the most success for Luis Enrique, I would really hate to see him coaching our arch rival. Now the second update is that Clement Lenglet, who's currently on loan with the Premier League club Tottenham Hotspurs, scored a very crucial goal yesterday in the Champions League match that helped the Tottenham Hotspurs qualify to the round of 16. And this is great news because the better Clement Lenglet performs, then the higher his market value will be next summer as the club look to offload him permanently. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And as always, Peace, Barca.